the banks feel strongly that there should be, rewards are the same as interest. And that, a compromise would be that you could pay rewards on transactions, not balances. If you are going to be holding balances and paying interest, that's the bank. You should be regulated by a bank. So we've been firm, one thing over here, yes, but if you want to be a bank, become a bank. Then you can do whatever you want under bank law. So I remind people, and your viewers may not know, banks have restrictions and requirements. FDIC insurance, AML, BSA, we have Community Responsibility Act, which means we have to open 25% of our residents, LMI neighbors. We have social requirements. We have liquidity requirements, capital requirements, transparency requirements, reporting requirements, board requirements, government's requirements. If they want to be a bank, so be it. So what we basically say is level playing field by product. It can't be you have these people doing one thing, without any regulation like that, and these people do another. And if you do that, the public will pay. It will get bad. So people should take a deep breath at what is it you want, and we want competition. We're actually one of the biggest users of blockchain, and we created the JP Morgan deposit coin. We've moved money real-time payments. We're moving a lot of data now using blockchain. So we're in favor of competition, but it's got to be fair and balanced, level playing field. It can't be completely skewed.
Okay, so Bitcoin does not have privacy. Any transactions can be monitored and then indirectly perhaps controlled. Central banks are not going to want to buy Bitcoin and being able to hold it. So it's not just individuals, it's institutions and so on, but most, and central banks, so that there are attributes of that.
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready. And we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. And now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them. Someday they'll write a story and they'll say why they did that. But they hit countries that had nothing to do with what's going on. They were sort of leaving everything alone. All of a sudden they had missiles shot in, which shows you the level of evil that we're dealing with. They'll hit people that were actually at least somewhat friendly, and they had no problems with it. Also hitting only civilian places, hotels and apartment buildings, and we're hitting them where it is much more appropriate. We're hitting them very hard. And the big scale hitting goes now. They no longer have air protection. They no longer have any detection facilities at all left. And so they're gonna be in for a lot of hurt. These are bad people. These are people that killed. I guess it's 35,000. It's coming out 35,000 over the last 3 weeks. Protesters, 35,000 violently killed. So these are bad people, and the leader of the pack is gone. And as you know, 49 people were taken out in the first hit, and I guess there was another hit today on the new leadership, and it looks like that was pretty substantial also. So they're getting hit very hard, and we'll see what happens. A lot of people are coming forward. A lot of the people you would least suspect want to quit. They want to have immunity. They're asking for immunity, and probably at some point they'll be dropping, as you would say, laying down their guns. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, we're just continuing to go forward. Worst case would be we do this, and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen. We don't want that to happen. That would probably be the worst. You go through this, and then in 5 years you realize you put somebody in who was no better. So we'd like to see somebody in there that's going to bring it back for the people. And we'll see what happens with the people. They have their chance. And we've said, don't do it yet. If you're going to go out and protest, don't do it yet. very dangerous out there. A lot of bombs are being dropped. But I would say that would be about the worst.
Do you have someone in mind right now? Because you said all the people you did have in mind have been taken out.
Well, most of the people we had in mind are dead. Well, some of the European nations have been helpful and some haven't. And I'm, very surprised. Germany's been great. He's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain. Spain, first of all, it started when every European nation, at my request, paid 5%, which they should be doing. And everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody. And Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases. And that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it. But we don't have to. But they were unfriendly. And so I told him, we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people. But they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're in the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we see the Hegelian dialectic being played. Interest on these stable coins, but don't forget, guys, what the mission is. They know. And Jamie Dimon definitely knows universal basic income is coming, and that's the reason why they do not want to pay interest on these stablecoins. Because in the Genius Act, these stablecoin issuers have to become banks anyway. So paying interest is definitely not the issue. Because these stablecoin issuers have to buy the front end of these treasuries, so they're gaining interest anyway. And they can easily hand some of that over to the customers. But we know these big banks are going to turn to these stable coins because fiat is about to be out. Yes, it's going to take time, but fiat is over. The cashless society is coming in, and money is going to be digital on blockchain. And there will be eventually staking. And we know DeFi is definitely the new banking. If you're helping out with liquidity, you're definitely going to get paid for it. You may have to hold it for a certain period of time. But we know Jamie Dimon definitely knows the plan. Told everybody don't buy Bitcoin while his company is buying it up a storm. And then he's also letting you know how powerful blockchain and AI is. He knows it's going to be the rise of the machines, and they're going to be using blockchain and crypto. And remember, the Crypto Teacher tells you. And then we have Ray Dalio on Bitcoin. Says that Bitcoin's transactions are public. Yes, but guys, we know there are ways to make your transaction private, and one of those ways is the Lightning Network. But we know the banks and the central banks get their Bitcoin for free. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Trump on the drums of beating. And we know it's going to keep getting worse and worse. And don't forget, this is a simulation. Just like the C word. They're going to take you through these stages, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse on a monthly basis. And then we get the black swan out of this situation. And we had Tucker Carlson calling out a false flag in Saudi Arabia on the Mossad. And the NWO put Tucker Carlson right where they wanted him. Because now he gets to play the Hegelian dialectic. Bringing you some of the truth. Not all. But now he gets to bring you some truth. And we have Trump telling us how hard they hitting Iran. But we can clearly see Iran is coming back and hitting even harder. And Trump admits taking out the leader, an even worse leader can be in his place. But we know that person is already chosen. And we have Trump saying he's cutting off Spain. And Trump is making the United States a whole lot of enemies. And especially if Iran really cuts off this Strait of Hormuz, it's going to change the game completely. And that is definitely the black swan we have to watch out for. Because you're talking about cutting off energy. Japan is probably about 90%, and China is about 40%. But like she stated, China has been stockpiling, and that was done on purpose. Remember, this is a plan and moves in phases. And when China was moving all their goods over to the emerging markets, the United States had already stockpiled. But eventually, stockpiles run out. And we have Trump is scheduled to meet with Xi March 31st to April 2nd. And we already know the two countries have went their separate ways. The two superpowers are eventually going to collide, but of course the mainstream media is going to tell you opposite. And like Trump always says, me and Xi are getting along great. We're doing fine. But we know that is definitely not the truth. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And all the issues that we have going on all around the globe, who's responsible for it? That's right, the central banks. And we know when the drums are beating, the banks are funding both sides. Jobs market weak, the central banks. Inflation high, central banks. Housing crisis, central banks. And right now, the Fed cannot make a move. And even when they do start to make a move, they only can cut 50 basis points. We are definitely in trouble. But Jerome Powell gets to ride off in the sun. And the new Fed Chair Walsh has to get this balance sheet down. And he's going to devalue this dollar. So therefore they can devalue the debt. So we can get on this level playing field where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Because of President Trump's announcement that we're going to be providing sovereign guarantees to basically for insurers to go through there. We certainly need to know if this is a concept of a plan, or do we have actually any movement towards being able to convince international shipping companies and insurers to go through the Strait of Hormuz. And so I think people are basically trading on a headline. We really need to see facts.
You think we'll get those? Because the headline did move the market. I mean, the headline of the possibility of some sort of treasury insurance, U.S. taxpayer backstop, a naval shipping armada like the 40s.
Well, the reality is that there needs to be some type of sovereign backstop. That's a necessary condition. The question is the president's plan sufficient? And I think we're going to see in the next couple of days, was he sort of throwing something out there to sort of calm the markets, or whether there's been really any work on this to date. I mean, we've heard that this was not something that the administration was thinking about in terms of the insurance problems when this war started.
So we've got also, it's not just the Strait of Hormuz. We've also got
Iraq is shut in.
Yeah, that's right. We got Iranian missiles hitting Qatar Energy, which, by the way, I thought Qatar and Iran, because they share a gas field, were sort of semi-allies.
And also because Qatar is seen as the place where everybody goes to negotiate. They hosted Hamas for years. So the interesting question is, we're not talking about LNG. I mean, that is totally shut in at this point.
Yeah, well, and by the way, you want to talk about U.S. stock impacts, look at VG, Venture Global. Yeah. Look at Cheniere. The ticker there is LNG very quickly. China, they buy most Iranian oil. They have a goal here. Do you think they apply enough pressure to Iran and say, listen, we know you're ticked off, knock it off, we need your oil?
Brian, China has been stockpiling commodities for the past year aggressively. That's something I think it's been part of the reason why we haven't fallen through the floor in oil prices. Was China exercising risk management going into this crisis? Did they anticipate some type of supply disruption? And is China happy also to see us tied down? Like, if you're the Iranians as well, and you are facing an existential crisis, we killed the supreme leader, the IRGC wants to stay in charge, do they care that China's a little annoyed with them? Or are they trying to bring this to an end game as quick as possible?
Your ex-CIA, which is test, by the way. But I'll say this. In terms of China, president's supposed to be in China in April. We asked this last night. this could upset that apple cart. I mean, the Chinese cannot be happy about what's going on.
I mean, look, I don't think the Chinese are necessarily happy to have the disruption of commodities, but it goes to the question of, did they see this coming? We have not replenished our SPR. China has been aggressively building stockpiles. So which consumers are better placed to endure an extended outage? China is probably in a better position because they were stockpiling in advance.
Well, it's an interesting response that the global bond markets, and I emphasize global because we've seen a rise around the world in sovereign yields because of the worries about higher inflation driven by energy costs. If you look at the Fed funds futures this morning, last Friday we were pricing in 100% chance of 2 cuts and 40% chance of a third. Now we're down to just 1 cut with about a 65% chance of a second. So the bond market is quickly adjusting to and saying, hey, with this jump in oil prices, whether it's sustainable or not, there's no way the Fed can be cutting interest rates going into this, which is important because if this leads to something more economically and oil prices and other commodity prices stay elevated, the Fed's going to have much less ability to address it via rate cuts.
We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us.
Robots hold steady hands in the operating room, and drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction.
Maybe crypto is actually built for the machines and we didn't even know it. And AI can easily handle private keys and easily understands transaction hashes and like how all this stuff works. It is money that is built for computers, even before the computers to intelligently handle it were built. So I find that interesting. And, perhaps those of us who were involved in crypto pre-AI were kind of just like getting the ground ready for the AI systems to have a fully developed financial system handed to them, for better or worse.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology.
And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that.
I think stable coins could reinforce dollar supremacy, because with stable coins could end up being one of the largest buyers of U.S. treasuries or T-bills. So all of a sudden, if you are using a stable coin in Nigeria that's backed by the U.S. dollar, you don't actually have to have dollars. It's on your phone. You can transact.
We are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stable coins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries and treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now. We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stable coins, and new payment systems.
The Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its statistics on the blockchain, because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books. because I think you can reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services. It'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. But with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age. Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button. Just a button and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity, and if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
If we could tokenize all our ETFs, all $5.3 trillion of our ETFs, and provide that in a digital wallet, you could seamlessly, without fees, going from a digital currency or a stable coin or whatever that may be in your digital wallet and buy bond or stocks. And I believe that is going to be the future.
I believe we're going to be in the cutting edge of tokenizing bonds and stocks.
It's coming.
And we have the technology now. The fact that we are now moving forward in tokenization every bond and stock is crazy. Yeah. We should be moving towards that frontier. Obviously, there's winners and losers and all that, but we need to be prepared for the tokenization. And it would democratize more finance if we tokenized bonds and stocks.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Xrp, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.